We've got another closure in San Francisco. Uh-oh. What do we got going on? We got Saks off Fifth Avenue in downtown San Francisco, slated to permanently close, not coming back. This is yet another indication of things absolutely imploding in San Francisco, specifically in the Tenderloin region. Let's get into it. Let's see what we've got going on. Here we go. Saks off Fifth in downtown, slated to permanently close. Game over. No do-over. No mulligans. Closed. Saks off Fifth at 901 Market Street in downtown San Francisco is slated to permanently close later this fall. A spokesperson for the discount luxury clothing retailer confirmed to San Francisco Gate on Monday afternoon. Through the regular course of business, we continually, this is the corporate speak. Let me start over, right? Through the regular course of business, we continually evaluate store performance and other factors, and from time to time may determine it necessary to close a store. The spokesperson said in an email, "We expect this store to remain open to the public until the fall of 2023 and look forward to continuing to serve the community, just not at this store." Yeah, don't go to this store because it's going to be closed. I love in the same sentence, they're like, they're going to remain open, but it's closing. Love to continue serving the community. The community that has stolen from them, has created safety issues, has defecated on the sidewalk, left needles on the sidewalk, you name it. If you look at a map where this is, yeah, this is just on the edge of the Tenderloin. It is not shocking that this bad boy is getting closed. I mean, we've had so many closures, which we'll get into. Let's get into them right now. All right. Following the closure, customers continue to shop at other Saks off Fifth locations. So Saks off Fifth is the discount brand of Saks. Is that right? I do not shop at either Saks or Saks off Fifth. I just don't. Never been in a store. Don't really know what's there. Don't really care. I'm a Nordstrom guy. Whatever. So including stores in Petaluma, Livermore, and Milpitas. You can shop there. You can shop at those stores in the area. So Saks off Fifth Avenue has been in operation in San Francisco since March of 2015. So a solid 8-year run. That is not terrible. That is not horrific. It's not like the Whole Foods that only lasted 13 months that had 568 911 calls for assistance in 13 months. Same area, right? We're talking basically the same area. So why wouldn't Saks off Fifth say, you know what? We're going to close this bad boy down. We're going to go, anywhere other than here. The news comes after a recent report that Ross Dress for Less could be opening a new Market Street location where Saks off Fifth Avenue is located alongside Nordstrom Rack. What are they going to, Ross Dress for Less? Now that is a place that people can get into shoplifting from, right? All the clothes they need just right there. Ross Dress for Less. You know what people always comment in the comments on any of these shoplifting or store closures? I'm doing a ton of these store closures right now because this is the end result. Businesses only take this crap for so long and then they go, a little profit component thing that we're always chasing. We're chasing the dragon, right? A little dragon of business called profit. Well, when they don't get that after a certain number of periods, they tend to just close and go out of business and move elsewhere. That's how it's done. That's why a lot of the leadership in these cities, they've never run businesses, nor do they care. They're okay running their business. They're okay running their city into the ground, right? Because otherwise they do something different, but they don't. So here we've got San Francisco. You've got this really progressive type attitude, and you're just literally watching this unfold in front of your eyes, the absolute train wreck that you've got going on here. It's just happening, literally right in front of you. The new Ross would be just a block away from a current Ross store at 799 Market Street. Who's bringing in new businesses? Yeah. Spokesperson for Nordstrom confirmed to San Francisco Gate on Tuesday morning that it would not be renewing the lease of its Nordstrom Rack store on Market Street, nor its massive Nordstrom store across the street at Westfield San Francisco Center. Yeah, we're not doing that. Those two stores there, nope, not so much. Whole Foods, nope, not so much. It's not clear how many employees at Saks off Fifth will be affected by the closure. We're committed to offering support and assistance to our team impacted by the closing. Just a bunch of corporate nonsense. Why don't you come right out and say, hey, you know what? Damn dangerous there. We're getting our asses kicked. Had to close the store. How about that? Wouldn't you just love to hear a news release like that where the CEO comes out and just goes, man, that is a terrible location. I would not open up a business there. If I was the last business in a population of 2 million people and they said, you got to go there, you're going to get a lot of business, but you're going to have to put up with some shenanigans, I would still not do it. Wouldn't you love to hear that? Just some guy just taking a literal crap on the location and calling it out for what it is. Man, you got people just doing all kinds of bathroom activities on the sidewalk, and then inside the store, they're just stealing left and right. Can't keep enough security guards in there to make a difference. Our loss prevention is just off the charts. And never mind the safety impact to our employees, to, all of our vendors, all the people bringing clothes in, all this good stuff, bringing goods in. Yeah, it's a train wreck. And so we have seen literally that happen time after time after. We are in the process of this unfolding in real life. And I am recording it one podcast at a time, right? So eligible associates will receive appropriate employment separation packages and transfer opportunities will be explored where feasible. Saks Fifth Avenue and Union Square remains open. Okay. I'm going to take bets on how long? Want to take bets on how long until Saks in Union Square, which is very close by, does the you know what? We closed the Saks Fifth Avenue one off Fifth. Close that one, the discount one. The other one can't be far behind, right? Can't be far behind. How in the world can a Saks remain open basically in the Tenderloin? That makes no sense to me, but it's happening. It's happening. So yeah, you've got a whole bunch of businesses that are all in the process. I find it a fascinating event because you've got a whole bunch of businesses because it is not viable to run a business in what was once one of the areas of the world that people went to for shopping, right? It just is. San Francisco, downtown. And that used to be just a mecca for people coming in. Hey, let's go shopping. They've got world-class shopping there. Not so much, right? Especially in this area, the Tenderloin. The Tenderloin, this is just kind of on the outskirts of the Tenderloin. The Tenderloin has become massive open air drug market. And you've got all of this stuff going on that is not conducive to a Saks or even Saks off Fifth Avenue type environment to be long-term. It's a no-go. It's a no-go. Everybody's saying, hey, yeah, we're closing down. But hey, don't worry about the Union Square shop. That one's going to stay open. So how much longer is this going to continue? How much longer can the city of San Francisco kind of just be sitting in their, in their deal going, all right, yeah, this is good. This is what we planned. This is not bad. It's going to have to take massive budget shortfalls, which are in place. I think San Francisco is down about $250 million right now, about to go about $500 million, $500 million down, somewhere in those type of numbers, negative on their budget. And when that happens, there will be some reckonings because now you don't have private businesses or public businesses, whichever one, closing and leaving. Now you've got internally, the city is going to have to make decisions on cutting those budgets. And there are going to be some very angry people, especially in the homeless industrial complex, that make a lot of money that are going to get whacked because they simply haven't done their job. and they haven't taken care of homelessness the way that they, said they're going to, well, give me this $200,000 salary and I will fix homelessness for you. No, Portland is they're going to use a company out of California, out of LA. I think it's LA, called Urban Alchemy to handle their homelessness problem. And you're like, okay, so this company's coming up from Cali, which has the worst homelessness in the world. Is this really the entity that you want to deal with your homelessness problem? Well, they've got lots of practice, right? They have got lots of practice. But unfortunately, so much of what you've got going on here, you're not going to fix it overnight. So you've got this bleed out of all these businesses and the revenue that they bring. The sales tax, the business tax, all the people walking around, going to these various businesses, they are no longer there. And a large portion of that happened right at the beginning of the pandemic when all these businesses told their employees, hey, we're in a worldwide pandemic, go ahead and work from home. And then they realized, oh, yeah, we don't need all of this space. So they started to pull out of the downtown core. And as they did, more office space became available. There's fewer people walking around. So you got fewer people calling in the criminal activity, and you've got an expansion of the criminal activity. Hey, we're not sweeping out tents during the pandemic. So if you want to run a drug den out of your tent on the sidewalk, it's a 2 thumbs up. You're all good to go. Just put your tent up. And in Portland, you got examples of activists literally putting tents up to attract people to stay in tents on the sidewalk and do their drugs. You literally got activists doing that. How is that helpful to anybody? You just got a bunch of drug addicts running around just doing crazy stuff, or just flat crazy people running around. Either which way, that is what's causing all of these stores to close, because Whole Foods is the prime example. And what happened in Whole Foods? 568 calls inside of 13 months, 1 fatal overdose in the bathroom, had to wheel the dude out in a gurney and have him covered with a sheet. Nothing says come shop at Whole Paychecks like a dead body coming out of the men's room, right? You don't want to make light of anybody passing away, but it's that kind of storyline where you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. There were stories of people getting in fights, people bringing swords. You name it, mentally unstable people on drugs are going to do it, right? So that's the environment that all these businesses are trying to get out of the way of. And the tax hit to the city of San Francisco, and like downtown Seattle and downtown Portland, the tax hit is just going to be massive, because all of a sudden, all those coffers that used to be filled from all this taxation and revenue coming through, gone, just no longer there. Boom, gone. We don't have that revenue. Don't have that revenue. Don't have that revenue. Okay, we got to start cutting programs. And it's those programs that are supposedly supposed to make a lot of this stuff kind of get better, but in fact, they're not. So you're going to have some big moments of reckoning moving forward. And I think it'll play out in real time, because there's nothing on the books right now that's literally going to make San Francisco better anytime soon. This whole, we're going to bring out the National Guard on an advisory basis. They're not really going to do anything. Or you're going to bring the sheriff's office in. There's a new sheriff in town. He's going to, by Jove, take care of that whole fentanyl deal. Nah, this stuff keeps going, because we're not putting people in treatment. We're not expecting them to get sober. And, we've decriminalized Proposition 47, especially in California, basically just said, well, it used to be a felony crime to shoplift more than XYZ. It's $950, but now if you shoplift less than that, it's just a misdemeanor. It's like a parking ticket. So people addicted to drugs, why wouldn't they go to California and just live the dream? Shoplift by day, drugs by night. That is literally what you're hearing people talking about. Hey, I had this break up with, my boyfriend. It just really rocked me emotionally. I lost my son. I lost my spouse. I lost my dad. I lost whatever. And it just caused me to crack. And then I went to drugs, and now I just try and do drugs all day to help me forget about this. Well, until you start dealing with some of that stuff, you're not going to be able to bring these businesses back in and have them work in a safe environment, because all these people doing drugs, especially in the Tenderloin, they got to steal from somewhere. They just can't have no place to steal from, because then they don't have the drugs. So, you've built a system that is inherently self-contained. The problem is, doesn't have a self-contained solution to make it better either. There is a solution, but nobody wants to do it. And so you got to push people into a lot of treatment. You got to push people into mental health care. You got to square those folks away, and maybe the combination of both. But until you start looking at that, those are the root causes for these businesses just leaving left and right. It's not a lack of foot traffic per se as its entirety. That is not the be all and end all of what you've got going on here. It's just that these stores have become, a safety liability for their owners and managers. They're like, oh, geez, we don't want to have our employees assaulted anymore. Some homeless dude brings in a sword, a samurai sword that's pretty sharp. That's not a good call. That's not a good idea. But look at how long it took to get Alexander J. into Western States Mental Hospital here in Seattle. He whacked somebody with, I think he stabbed somebody with a knife. He whacked somebody in the head with a piece of rebar, and he pushed that nurse down the stairs at a transit center just repeatedly. I mean, she had a broken clavicle and she was just messed up, right? Just effed up after Alexander J., who is literally crazy. He can't stand trial. He can't do anything. He's up in Western States getting help, but it took him, I think it was it over a year to get him there? It took that long for a bed to open up. And that's the kind of stuff that is impacting these stores, because you got crazy people running around doing crazy stuff. And at some point in time, corporate says, nope, we're not doing this anymore. We're closing it down. We've got lots of other options out there, lots of other cities to operate in. And literally, as you're seeing some of these store closures happen, you're seeing other stores open up because they think, well, I'll give this a run. Well, it can't be that bad, can it? And maybe it's not for them, but for these stores that have been experiencing this for years and years and years, they've had break-in after break-in after break-in. They've dealt with just one insane drug-addicted individual after another, either out in front of their stores or inside their stores. After a while, they just the ownership doesn't want to deal with that. And they say, we're done. We're going to continue to operate our operation outside in the burbs, anywhere but here. And that's a lot of what you're seeing in San Fran. That is why you are seeing this situation happen over and over and over all of a sudden, because you get to a point where businesses are like, nope, we're done. They look around and go, why would we want to be the last man standing in this island of just hellhole here in the Tenderloin when we could close her down and focus our operations elsewhere where you don't have this external impact. It's the external impact of the neighborhood that is causing these businesses to shut down. And corporate is going with, well, we've got foot traffic issues. Yeah, but you wouldn't have foot traffic issues if it was safe. There weren't people doing drugs. Organized retail theft wasn't basically encouraged by ridiculous things like Proposition 47. You'd have some of that going for you, but you don't. So that is why I think you're going to continue to see business after business after business leave this area of San Francisco. And I will podcast it for you right here on News for Reasonable People. All right, that's it for me. Thanks again. I will catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.